Thank you for listening to REED-BBS.
REED-BBS, BBS. Fury versus Ngannou Fallout, Part 4. Boxing versus MMA and the fucking mess Tyson Fury created. Now you're probably wondering how many parts are there, and I'm here to tell you this is some Fast and the Furious type shit. This is some Rocky franchise type of shit. How Rocky had his 6 movies and then Creed and yeah, it's like that. You never know with my ass. Anyway, boxing versus MMA, Bloods versus Crips, Protestants versus Catholics, Democrats versus Republicans. It's on that level with some of y'all. Snowflake libtards versus Republicans. Folks get so caught up in protecting their side of the fence that logic and reason go out the fucking window. Now, to be clear, I'm a boxing dude. Always have been, always will be. That's my love. My favorite sport is boxing. It just is what it is. And by the time UFC came about in the 90s, the 1990s, I was already 20 plus years deep into boxing. With that said, I fucks with MMA though, and I'm not a casual. I've been actively watching MMA since UFC 75, Rampage Jackson versus Dan Henderson, and I haven't looked back. Sadly, my boxing friends, they hate MMA, and my MMA friends, they hate boxing. Then there's little old me, the man in the middle, with 2 sports coexisting perfectly in my combative sports world, like softball and baseball. I really don't get it. The rest of y'all just got it twisted. But with all that established, I'm the motherfucking voice of motherfucking reason. So sit down, shut up, and I hope you enjoy the ass and titties at the beginning of my videos. Now listen, when I was a kid, I remember folks wondering who would win if Ali and Bruce Lee fought. And before my time, a man by the name of Judo Gene LaBelle, he fought a boxer by the name of Milo Savage in what is almost universally regarded as the first crossover mixed martial arts match ever, of all times. December 2nd, 1963. LaBelle, he choked Savage out, and then he went on to train a female judoka by the name of Anne Maria DeMars. Who is Anne Maria DeMars, you ask? That's the mother of Ronda Rousey. Crossover bouts, crossover fights, that's what's got us here. Inevitably, one side of the boxing versus MMA divide is feeling themselves afterwards, the other side feeling some type of way. Unnecessarily, I might add. After LaBelle and Savage, there was Ali versus professional wrestler Antonio Inoue. With, strangely enough, Judo Gene LaBelle was the referee of that fight. It was an ugly bout. Inoue stayed on his back or on a knee to avoid getting punched and to attack Ali's legs with low kicks and shit. The fight itself was awkward, not the least bit rewatchable, and declared a draw. Butterbean, remember his fat ass? Eric Esch, Butterbean Esch, king of the 4-rounders, made his name in tough man boxing events. He also has a mixed martial arts record of 15 wins, 10 losses, and 1 draw. 8 KOs and 7 submissions. I couldn't imagine getting your ass submitted by Butterbean. But it is what it is. He has a winning record in MMA, in an octagon. Ray Mercer, of course, fought Kimbo Slice. Now, MMA claims Kimbo, but in actuality, Kimbo was a street fighter with a boxing base. He came out stand up, throwing them hands. There might be some dirty boxing, a degree of grappling, but not much, as we saw when Kimbo's MMA career flamed out. Ray Mercer also fought Tim Sylvia, who, like a year and a half, 2 years just prior to the Mercer fight, was the UFC heavyweight champion. And Mercer stretched his ass in the first fucking round, like in a matter of seconds. Then, of course, Randy Couture versus James Toney. The complete opposite. Couture took Toney down seconds into their mixed martial arts bout and choked him out like a minute and a half into the fight. Didn't belong in there with Couture. It was painfully obvious. Bringing me to Holly Holm. Boxing record of 33 wins, 2 losses, 3 draws, 9 KOs. Holly also kickboxed prior to giving MMA a shot. Who did Holly Holm famously upset in MMA? Ronda Rousey. Whose mama was trained by judo Jean LaBelle? Who was the first recorded crossover boxer versus MMA bout consisting of? Judo Jean LaBelle. You see how it all comes full circle? Judo Jean LaBelle, Anna Maria DeMars, Honda Housey, and then Holly Holm. But no one's beating their chest over that on some boxing versus MMA shit. Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Same principle. Okay, Floyd did what he was supposed to do. Not that big of a deal. No one's shitting on MMA. You know what I'm saying? But the inverse seems to be the case. Most recently, Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. Now MMA is beating his chest right now, but you're losing sight of the individualized talents and skill sets specific to each fighter that attempts to cross over. You're totally shitting on what that individual brings to the octagon or to the boxing ring with him. To think Francis Ngannou's success versus Fury equates to MMA being superior to boxing, that means every single mixed martial artist would have to bring Ngannou's punching power and chin to a boxing ring with him. And they won't. That's just a matter of fact. They will not bring his power nor Francis's chin. More so, while you're on this victory lap with Francis, talking to you, trolling ass Chael Sonnen, and you too, Dewey Cooper. You did a good job in Francis's corner, but you're throwing some shade after the fact. And other MMA lovers, please remember Francis originally pursued boxing when he began his career in combat sports. He started off in boxing. No, he never had a sanctioned professional boxing match. But let's not pretend he walked out of an octagon and into a boxing ring without ever lacing up a fucking boxing glove before. That's how some of y'all are acting. Like he couldn't even spell the word boxing until he saw and signed to fight Tyson Fury. Also, ask yourself why mixed martial artists have to always cross over to boxing to get their biggest paydays. Riddle me that, Batman. Ngannou himself said his Fury purse was more than the sum total of all of his UFC paydays combined, put together. Meanwhile, DanaWhite allowed Francis to leave UFC out of pure greed. He thought his UFC champion was going to get embarrassed in boxing, even though he let Conor McGregor go ahead and fight Floyd. But with Francis, the rules were different. Now ask yourself, why the president of UFC continues to push his fighters to boxing to get that money that they actually deserve. They're going to boxing to get them licks, them generational wealth type paydays. Why is Dana White indirectly pushing his product to boxing while you're beating your chest? So yeah, all that said, enjoy your moment, MMA. You won the Fury Ngannou event, unquestionably. The event. Low expectations. Francis doing considerably better than anyone could have imagined. Sure, you won the event, like I just said. But you still lost the boxing match. You lost the boxing match. There were a lot of dead spots between the emotional highs of Ngannou dropping Fury and hurting him with other shots here and there. There was lows now. Let's not pretend there weren't. And those dead spots, those lows were filled by Fury jabbing the shit out of Francis. Jabbing him, and you know it. You can't compartmentalize 2-3 rounds of success and project it upon the other 7-8 rounds of a 10-round bout. You just can't. Now, there'll be more boxing versus MMA events, but enjoy it for what it is. A contest between two athletes from different combative sports disciplines, not a sweeping judgment, not some indictment on boxing or mixed martial arts proper. It's not that. Tyson Fury struggling with Francis Ngannou, it didn't make boxing look bad or any type of way. It's an indictment. It's not an indictment on boxing. It's an indictment on Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury made Tyson Fury look bad. No more, no less. REED-BBS, BBS. Blackbird Sugar, Bachelor's in Boxing Studies. Television! Fred Sanford of the Vistic Arts. When all is said and done, there's nothing left to say